Oh, we can do so much more better than that. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Absolutely. It is an amazing and wonderful day to be in the Lynchburg region. Thank you all for being here today. Before I slide into some remarks, I do want to give a little bit of a safety briefing. Look around you. We have exits on both ends of the room, 2 exits in the back, 2 exits on the side. If you need to use the restroom, you will exit through that door, which is my right. Head straight to an outer door, head left to an outer door, or head right to an outer door. Restrooms, incidentally, are also to the right down the hallway. Again, doors on all 4 sides of this room. Thanks again for being here. My name is Megan Lucas. I am the CEO and Chief Economic Development Officer here at the Lynchburg Regional Business Alliance. We are really pleased that you have chosen to spend a part of your day with us this afternoon. We recognize the hard work of 2 champions for workforce development, and also to welcome the 74th Governor of the Commonwealth of Virginia, Glenn Youngkin.
Amazing. Hello, everybody. Thank you all for being here. My goodness.
I enjoy seeing this sign behind me. It says compete to win. And as it relates to the Lynchburg region, here what we like to do every day, we like to think regionally, we like to compete globally, and we like to impact locally. And we do that with the help of an amazing governor. Thank you for being here today.
Thank you.
Yeah, oh yeah. Before we get started, I'd like to give special thanks to the Lynchburg Regional Business Alliance Legislative Advocacy Partners, ABC 13 WSET, Appalachian Power, and Liberty University. Without their support, this event would not have been possible today. Let's have another round of applause for them. I'd also like to acknowledge several state and local elected officials who have joined us today. Our very own State Senator Mark Peake has joined us. Delegate Wendell Walker has joined us. Delegate Tim Griffin. Delegate Eric Zare. Also, we have with us State Senator John McGuire. And State Senator Sulaim. Our local officials joining us this morning are our very own Mayor of the City of Lynchburg, Mayor Stephanie Reed. Our Vice Mayor, Chris Feraldi. And we have City Council members Mary Jane Dolan and Marty Mischens joining us today. Joining us from Amherst County is Claudia Tucker, Vice Chair of the Board of Supervisors. Yes, Claudia. From Appomattox County, Sheriff Robbie Richardson, and from Campbell County, Sheriff Whit Clark. When I travel around the country, I tell everybody that this region is the center of excellence for higher education. And I wholeheartely believe that. And I say that because I'm going to introduce to you 2 of our college presidents who've joined us today. President of Liberty University, Dr. Don DeCostin. And President of the University of Lynchburg, Allison Morrison Shetler. Who I just learned today is the #1 seed in equestrian. So we're super excited. We'll be immediately after this, we'll be saddling up and riding horses down Main Street. So everybody get ready. I also like to give a special thanks to the Alliance Board of Directors that are here today and the Government Relations Committee that have been here working hard on behalf of our critical issues that include workforce development, economic development, business development, all very important to growing and sustaining a successful region. The Lynchburg Regional Business Alliance is dedicated to strengthening our region's long-term competitiveness, advocating for pro-business policies that create jobs, grow our economy, and impact the region. Together with our wonderful governor, we focus on jobs, growth, and opportunity for everyone. Without further ado, please join me in giving a warm and rowdy applause to Delegate Wendell Walker.
There you go.
Thank you so much, Megan. Before I make a few comments here, we all know how much Megan is a cheerleader for our region out here when it comes to workforce. But Megan, if you ever retire, I've just thought of a new profession you may want to consider. That is an airline stewardess. So the exits on either side, the bathrooms in the back, and the oxygen, well, we'll worry about that later. Thank you for being here today. So ladies and gentlemen, there's no question at all that under the leadership of our governor here, Governor Youngkin, that the workforce in Virginia is charming along at the best speed that it can. As I understand the stats, they gave me this little speech here, and sometimes it's kind of hard to read a speech, but understand that we are beating 42 other states when it comes to job growth in the last 2 years. And that's what you call leadership here. Our governor understands business and industries and what it takes to keep them working successfully, and that's what we're doing here today with these bills signing here in a few minutes. And especially I want to recognize a dear friend who's been a leader in many years out here in the workforce, and that was a mentor of mine, Kathy Byron, now former delegate, but she's doing a great job helping to move Virginia Works along here. So thank you. So this legislation will help to advance the newly created Virginia Works agency that will help folks get to work here in the Commonwealth. Businesses like many of those that are represented here, and we thank you for the vendors that are here today. This is certainly the backbone to our region here. So as legislators working with our governor, we're here to streamline and make these processes better. So this new Virginia Works agency, we're here to compete to win. And so at this time, I'm going to introduce the senator from Lynchburg who helps me get my bills passed, and I help him get his bills passed, but a dear friend and our state senator, Mark Peake.
Good afternoon, everybody. What a great, great day to be in Lynchburg. What a great day. It is always a spectacular day when we have the governor in the Hill City. Thank you, Governor Youngkin. And I appreciate all our law enforcement here. Point out Chief Zudema and Tommy Carter from the Lynchburg Sheriff's Office and Sheriff Jimmy Ayers from Amherst. We don't want to leave him out because sometimes when I'm trying to get to Richmond, I go a little fast through Amherst, and we don't want anybody to be irritated when we're driving. And Robbie from Appomattox, good. Lynchburg workforce development has been the main focus of the LRBA and Megan, and prior to that for a number of years. Kathy Byron has been a champion for workforce development for the past 30 years, 20 plus in the General Assembly. Wendell, Delegate Walker, has done the same in his private and now in his legislative duties. I'd like to think of Lynchburg as the champion of workforce development in the Commonwealth of Virginia. Look at the companies that we have here who have shown up today to talk about workforce development and job creation, and of course our great universities and colleges who are here in Lynchburg as well. I get to sit beside the guy who brought this great bill that the governor is here to sign today. He hails from the Star City of the South. Please welcome the great Senator David Suetterlein.
Here we go.
Good afternoon. It's wonderful to be here. Had a great lunch at the Texas Inn, and
I'll be going there next.
and it's just been a fantastic day here in Lynchburg, and we're hoping with this legislation that there's more fantastic days across the Commonwealth. I thank the governor so much for being here, for spotlighting this bill, for the work of his administration to help bring consensus for this legislation. I also thank the governor for all his work the last few weeks It's given a lot of work for. I'm going to sit next to Senator Peake for a long time next week at reconvene session with a whole lot of amendments and things to do. It's so important that we fulfill our first responsibility in government, which is public safety. Education is another very high priority. All these things take dollars, and we've been prioritizing that. The Youngkin administration has worked well with the legislature the last 2 years and is working again this year to do that. It's important that it happens on time, and I'm happy that the budget got sent to the governor on time this year, and I'm thankful that the governor came back with his thoughtful amendments seeking common ground on time as well. And I hope that after Senator Peake and I spend a lot of time there, we're able to make sure that this budget happens on time. So our law enforcement, our public schools, all of these core functions of government can know what is coming down the pike, and they can prepare best to do their duties and fulfill their responsibilities to the people of the Commonwealth. So that's what we'll be seeking to do. I know the budget's not exactly the way I'd like it. I know it's not exactly the way Governor Youngkin would like it. I would like some tax cuts in there. I know he would like that too. But I appreciate that when the Democratic leadership on the other side said no, he was willing to say, well, we need to make sure that we fulfill our responsibility to the people of the Commonwealth. And he made sure that we have a budget that can do that. I see former Speaker Wilkins there, and he remembers well when Governor Allen was in similar situations with the two chambers controlled by the other party, and we're working for that. And I appreciate Governor Youngkin doing that. This legislation today, we were able to get through the General Assembly on strong bipartisan vote in the Senate and the House. I appreciate Delegate Walker invested a lot of time and effort in helping educate his House colleagues on why this legislation was so important, with the benefit of the great support of our administration talking about this. A comment that you all heard in Lynchburg, I'm sure, for a few times, and we heard in Roanoke and all over Virginia, is not everyone needs a 4-year degree. Well, the reality is not everyone always needs a 2-year degree, and often what we need at a specific point is not a degree at all, but it's a credential. And we need to make sure that we keep building on the success of these last few years in credentialing more people and making those credentials quickly accessible. And the folks in industry working together with the folks in education, especially at our community colleges, to prioritize these high in demand positions and credentials so that we can get these people the jobs that will do well for their families, they can advance in their professions there, and hopefully several of them will end up taking those credentials and going and starting their own businesses down the road. And then the whole process can start over and more families benefit. That is the economy that Governor Youngkin is working hard with the legislature to continue to build in the Commonwealth, because we understand that we want as many small businesses to become big businesses. And the best businesses are homegrown here in the Commonwealth. So I appreciate you all being here today, and it's a great honor to welcome the 74th Governor of the Commonwealth of Virginia, Glenn Youngkin.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. I've had the great privilege to serve in this role for over 2 years now, and I still will never get used to that. And so thank you. My wife doesn't stand up when I walk in the room. So thank you. Let me just begin with a truth. The three most powerful words in the English language are "I love you." There's nothing more powerful. But right behind them are "you are hired." There's dignity in work. And this opportunity that we're talking about today, forging the next generation of workforce development across the Commonwealth of Virginia, brings together both of those sentiments that Virginia and Virginians care deeply about each other, and they're working together to create opportunities where those three powerful words can be uttered. You are hired. And so thank you for coming together today to, in fact, celebrate some real achievements on behalf of our General Assembly, but also to march forward with us in continuing to build the most amazing talent pool in the world, right here in the Commonwealth of Virginia, and dare I say, right here in Lynchburg. I then want to turn to our students. Thank you. First of all, thank you for choosing to pursue your education here in Lynchburg, here in the Commonwealth of Virginia. Second of all, thank you for getting a job with every single one of these great companies back here, so you'll stay here, because that's what we want you to do, is continue this amazing journey of living in the very best place to live and work and raise a family here in the Commonwealth. And I so look forward to the chapters that all of you will write about Virginia and what you achieved together. My aspirations for you are high. My expectations of you are high. And most importantly, my admiration for you is high. So thank you to all of our students. I just first want to thank the Lynchburg Regional Business Alliance. Megan, thank you. Amazing. I mean, come on. This is just extraordinary. You know, at the end of the day, the basic sentiment that when business thrives, community thrives. And guess what? Virginians and families, aspirations, they thrive. And that's what this is all about. And so thank you for your leadership. Thank you for the way that your servant's heart literally beats loudly in your chest. And most importantly, thank you for helping us once again reiterate that, yes, business is thriving and therefore communities are thriving. I remain grateful for everyone's continued focus on building a business-friendly Virginia. And boy, what a couple years it's been. You know, we started out this journey, and as Delegate Walker shared with us, we were bottom third in the nation in job growth. And in fact, so many small businesses were out of business. And we locked arms together, Democrats and Republicans, local leaders, state leaders, House members, Senate members, and we collectively said, we are going to be open for business. And boy, did Virginia respond. You know, today we have the most number of people working than ever in the history of the Commonwealth. Just this week, we had 2 ribbon cuttings yesterday. I was in a meeting this morning trying to convince another company to come and expand further in Virginia. This is what it's all about. And again, I want to acknowledge the tremendous, tremendous organizations that make up the Lynchburg business community, and your not only willingness to engage fully in developing the talent for the future with internships and apprenticeship programs, but also your continued emphasis on being the very best in the world at what you do. Those two attributes do fundamentally distinguish this community in such an extraordinary way. We, in fact, continue to compete. We continue to win. And the formula is really very straightforward. We, one, have to have a pro-business environment. What does that mean? Reducing the cost of doing business, lifting up the supply of talent, making sure that we have sites that are ready for companies to build on and expand on, making sure that we are constantly assessing our regulations and streamlining them, and finally celebrating the fact that the next generation of talent is being built here in the Commonwealth. Senator Suderline's comments around creating multiple pathways is so important. Multiple pathways where students can go to our extraordinary universities and continue to learn not just about a skill, but about life. Not just about a capability, but in fact a preparation to take on the challenges ahead of them. The opportunity to, yes, go to one of our great community colleges and earn an associate's degree, or do an automatic transfer to one of our great universities. To prepare in our high schools for multiple pathways to earn these credentials that are industry recognized, so that in fact Virginians who choose a different path can go right to work and can in fact find these great jobs that these organizations want to hire. That is what we mean by meeting students and Virginians where they are, as opposed to having a one-size-fits-all kind of system. That is what it's all about. And that's why when we all came together and said that it's time for us to rethink workforce development in the Commonwealth, there was such a moment of, yes, let's bring together the disparate programs, and let's put them in a place that we can work on making sure the ones that are doing really well, we do more of, and the ones that might not be reaching their ultimate goals, we can work in order to help them be more effective. That's what Virginia Works is all about. And I have to say that there are people in this room that have carried so much of the work. And I just want to go back. I want to thank our Secretary of Labor, Brian Slater, who's not here. I literally want to thank our Secretary of Education, Amy Gadara. I want to thank, thank you. I want to thank Kathy Byron. Kathy, you have been a champion of workforce your entire career. And when we all came together and said, can we get this done? You looked at us and said, I will go to work. And you did. And thank you so much. Thank you. It's this same pursuit of finding common ground that we went to work on in our budget submission. And thank you, Senator Suderline. Folks, the reason why Virginia is in such a good place today is because our business climate is booming. It's because there's 200,000 more people working today as opposed to just 2 years ago. It's because we've gone from bottom third to number 7 in the nation in job growth. It's because those jobs are fabulous and companies are growing that Virginia is in a very different place. You see, when Virginians do well, state government does well as well. And that allows us to have not just a record number of people working, but also state government to have record receipts. It's really not surprising, but oftentimes a little shocking, that we have 40% more receipts today in state government than we had just 5 years ago. That's because we've expanded. That's because we've grown. And therefore, we can in fact support a $64 billion budget without tax increases. We can in fact support record spending in K through 12 education, $21.3 billion to be invested in K through 12 education, underpinned by continuing to pay our teachers at the national average and beyond. And that's what our 3% raises do in each of the next 2 years. The great work that was done, again, on a bipartisan basis over the last 2 years with 12% raises for our teachers has brought us up to the national average. And now with these raises, on average, teachers in Virginia will earn $3,500 more than the national average. This is where we've gotten to. It's about finding common ground. The senator and I know that Senator Peake and the delegate all believe in tax reductions, but we certainly don't need tax increases. And so our first step for finding common ground is let's have no changes in tax policy. Let's go ahead and fund our top priorities, and we can do this together. Stay on time, provide predictability to all of our regional governments, and do exactly what voters expect us to do, which is our jobs. And so that's what we're after here over the course of the next month. When we look at building the next rung of growth in Virginia, it is all about talent. And that's what Virginia Works is all about, developing that talent. You see, Virginia Works, as I said, brings together the broad array of workforce development programs and gives us the ability at the state level, under Commissioner Ross' leadership, but also an amazing team, to do exactly that. What's working, what's not, and how do we optimize it all? It serves as kind of a hub and spoke model for our statewide efforts. And as I've said before, it is no secret that talent has become the most important factor for business expansion. Just this morning, one of our large businesses in the Commonwealth is trying to decide where to expand. And their number one criteria is talent. And right behind it is their objective to expand where they are because the talent pool is so strong. This is what we have to continue to develop. And so I want to thank, there's been so many folks involved in this, and I know that Senator Peake is a very humble man, but he worked extremely hard on this effort along with Chairman Sam Rasool. They worked together on a bipartisan basis in order to do this. What they've done is pass legislation that will enable universal licensure, which is what we're looking for, to make it easy to work in the Commonwealth of Virginia for qualified teachers so that we can bring them here. This concept of universal licensure used to be rebuffed, and now it's embraced because, of course, we want to make it easy for people who come to Virginia to take one of the many great jobs that are here. I do find that it is a very unique perspective, that it is better to have more people moving here than moving away. And I want them to come get a good job, is what we want. And finally, as the collective efforts have really prioritized career building in Virginia, we find ourselves able to really add to the bedrock of a resilient and vibrant talent pipeline by now this next step. This bill that I'm going to sign today is a big step to bring together not just the vision, but all of the data that we need in order to make great decisions. And so the data trust, the workforce data trust that is going to be used to target, how do we make sure that we are building talent pipelines that are literally feeding the most in-demand jobs is hugely important. And so this legislation requires that workforce development programs use high-demand job lists as a targeting function so that our efforts are most impactful. And the second thing we're doing with this legislation is expanding our apprenticeship council so that we can have more youth-registered apprenticeships. The bottom line is we want to start this journey earlier in our high schools, and we want to make it more accessible to so many more Virginians. And how about that for a basic concept? To allow our families in the Commonwealth to make a decision earlier in their academic careers with a broader array of options to decide what they want to do. So as I said, there is a moment where we step back and say we are moving in the right direction. We still have a lot of work to do. But there's also a moment to celebrate the extraordinary work that has gone on to get us here. And so that's exactly what we're doing today. And so with that, I will move to signing a bill and doing the work. But while I'm still here, I want to just again recognize the blessings that we are all bestowed upon us. And that to be good stewards of those blessings is first to recognize you have them, and second of all, to work together to extend them to others. And that's what those three powerful words do. Let's work together so that every Virginian can hear, right after I love you, they can hear you are hired. May God bless you. May He bless the Commonwealth of Virginia. Let's go to work. Cool.